Think you know what way it's going to go? Make your bet with Sports Interaction. Whether it's hockey, football, or basketball, Sports Interaction has you covered. Bet pregame, live in play, or on one of our many prop bets. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Join now and see all sports betting has to offer. Want to bet? Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 and older, please play responsibly.
All right. Well, Harnish, I learned a lesson today. And the lesson is
What'd you
never
learn?
tweet. All right. See, if you guys saw my preview tweet that was retweeted out by Steve and SDPN and everybody else, I said it's a clash of the Titans tonight. And after the first period, I thought, okay, this is good hockey. I was going to come on and say, I really hope that we can get out of the first round to have just a banger of a series with the Boston Bruins. And that kind of turned around a little bit there, didn't it, Harnish?
Oh
Kind of
yeah,
changed.
that
The tenor sort of changed.
yeah. There's a lot to talk about here. There's a lot that went wrong. But yeah, we let's get this going because there's so much to talk about. There's so much to break down here. We're also going to be joined today by Brian BeLeafs tonight. I'm super excited to have him on. Brian's a
Super duper.
fantastic artist who comes and makes comics every game for the Leafs, and then compiles them into a book which you can purchase at the end of the season. From his website, brianbeleaf.com. We're excited to have him on, so welcome to the show, Brian.
Woo!
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited to be here. I wish we had a better result, but I'm always up for talking Leafs.
Do you ever like regret the Brian, like the BeLeaf part? Sometimes you're just like, I don't know if I really do anymore.
Man, I've been loving the Leafs for so long, man, and I remember watching the '93 series, like making
Wow.
papers in Oshawa basement and like crying when Wayne Gretzky scored in overtime. I remember Matt Sundin scoring overtime goals against Carolina. I remember a lot of highs, man, but there's been so many lows. I really do believe that this team has what it takes. I do think we're one of the contenders, but
Yeah.
nights like tonight, it hurts for sure.
Yeah, one of the contenders, but and that's why I said Titans, because the Leafs are a great team. Like objectively, you can't say they're not a great team if you just look at the standings. But the Boston Bruins are so beyond a great team. Like they are an absolute buzzsaw of a team that is just completely dominating the NHL. And even though they lost 3 straight games, which is kind of unheard of, they just came right back. And yeah, you saw it. Like every one of the Leafs goals like was somewhat of a bit of a mistake or like a bit of a lapse in judgment. And you cannot give the Bruins a sliver of daylight because they will murder you.
That's what hockey is, right? It's a game of mistakes, man. Like you play defense. I know we're always hard on defensemen, man, but it's like you get guys like Pasta coming down on you, man. It's hard. Like sometimes these guys are just better than you, and they make you make these mistakes. I think the Leafs, really you look at it, goaltending was a difference tonight. Defense was a difference tonight, and to me, that's kind of the story of the game.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising though, because especially in that first period, we kind of got saved really hard by Sammy there, right? He had a couple fantastic saves, and I was like, okay, maybe tonight's gonna be another goalie duel. Maybe we're gonna see the best out of both Sammy and Olgren as well, or Olmark as well.
Homework, yeah.
And I don't know what happened. It seemed like they kind of just figured him out because the top of the glove was really leaky for Sammy tonight. I mean, there was like what 2 or 3 goals off of that itself. That was surprising. I didn't expect that, honestly.
Yeah, both those lasers were top right corner.
Yeah.
Beautifully placed shots, but that last one, especially from out at the blue line, you got to have that one. The other one coming down the left side, it just seemed to beat him. But yeah,
that Carlo goal, I felt completely took the air out of the arena. Like that weird knuckleballer pass into the net. That was, I felt like that kind of was the difference. Like that was a really strange one. But yeah, honestly, like in the first period, like to Harnish's point, I was saying, like I wrote down, I'm like, oh, Sammy's on tonight. Like,
Yeah.
is he stealing this net? And like, there's a reason why they have a tandem. Like, there's a reason why, he wasn't tendered by Washington. He's a great goalie. He should have been tendered by Washington. Like, I think they're regretting it. But, as great as he still is not elite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He's never
my
played
opinion.
a full caseload, right? So it's like you have him tonight. This is his 7th game in a row. So I do wonder about the workload, what we're putting on him right now. Although it is a playoff schedule, right? It isn't every other night schedule. So if he's going to be your true number one, that's what you're going to be looking for him in the playoffs. But I do think he's been looking a little leaky, and I think the Murray injuries really hurt him for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And it was weird because I was willing to give him a little bit of a break on that first goal. It was tough, and he probably should have had his hand on it. But then he pulls back right away and gets that beautiful pass to Marner to kind of even it up right then and there. And I'm like, all right, you know what? He got an assist. Maybe it was a gimme. And it was really funny seeing some tweets because this was Sammy's second assist of the season, and Kyle Cushman comes out and tweets, Ilya Samsonov ties Czar with 2 assists on the season, and then David Alter comes back and says, Samsonov having more points than Wayne Sims is not something I was expecting at this point of the season.
Oh, no.
I'm like, oh god, guys.
Why you gotta do that to Wayne Simmons, man?
And
Come
Czar.
on, man.
Like, just
And Czar.
appreciate that Sammy had an assist, but no.
That's a
they
wild
to
stat.
go off on them. It was hilarious. I loved it.
Ilya Samsonov is he's got he missed his calling as a QB. I don't think Patrick Mahomes and Ilya Samsonov have been in the same room, so we can't verify if they're not the same now. I'm just kidding. But his pass was really fantastic.
I got a little bit of air on it too. Maybe there's a potential for an empty net goal down the line if he keeps this accuracy up.
Man, I'm dying to see that.
He's so exciting.
I've never seen one. I've never watched one as a game. I think it's how many of them ever happened in the NHL history. It might just be on counting on one hand how many goalie goals there've been.
Ron Hextall's famous for having a couple. Shesterkin's gone for it twice this year, and both times he's just missed. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. We have a couple guys thinking about it lately. Speaking of Simmons, I thought he kind of had a bit of a strange night, on the before that second goal, he was really pushing and he was causing a lot of trouble up front there and really forechecking really good. And then he got caught a little bit on that second goal. They showed on the broadcast he didn't go off when he was up in the neutral zone. Mm-hmm. But then that knockout punch, man, that poor guy, he looked like he was KO'd on his feet, right?
I mean, they took him to the back for concussion protocol as well, just to make sure he was okay.
That's why I'm not a fan of that's why it was such a strange thing. I don't think I remember seeing a guy score a goal and then in the very next shift get into a fight. It's kind of strange to see that, but it's kind of why I'm happy that there's not a lot of fighting in the game, because when I see these head hits now, knowing what we know, I always kind of cringe. I'm like, oh no, I just any hit to the head, I hate it. I hate seeing it.
Yeah, exactly. It was just really funny that just right after that goal, Simmons is just like, all right, you know what? That I'm just gonna fight you, because it was clearly nothing that he did wrong. Greer, I thought it was just a fantastic goal. And then he's like, all right, not only did Liljegren pinch really bad, but I'm gonna blame that on you, and I'm also gonna blame it on you for the fact that Sammy couldn't get a glove on it or anything, and he just went after him. Poor guy. But I mean,
I think it was a wait. Yeah. I think he just tried to turn the tenor of the game around. I mean, that's the reason why you drop the gloves in the anyway. Yeah. Really, most of the time, it's to just get the crowd going, get the juice back in the legs, right? Which they did not have.
Yeah, I mean, it worked. That Yarncroc got a goal right close after that too, right? So I guess it worked a little bit, but yeah, not enough. I mean, Zach had to get 2 goals later on and just finish the deal and beat us. So it was a 5-2 at the end, right? I
felt like that bunting. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I felt like that Yarncroc goal, that's a momentum moment, right? Mm-hmm. But then the whole bunting scrum that happened right behind there, it kind of you saw Yarncroc looking over to the right. He was like, what the hell's going on over there? And it kind of, the Leafs were never able to ride that wave that they got from that goal. And then next thing,
gave it right back.
4-on-4 came right down the ice, tough stuff, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bunting
that's
just can't get a break at all now, eh? Like it seems like the refs just do not care. They can do anything to bunts on the ice, and they're just never gonna call him bunts away. I mean, there was like 2 missed calls there. One of them was pretty egregious, that hold in on him in the second period, and then the third with Marchand and whatnot. Just nothing going bunts'
yeah.
way at all anymore.
He's marked. He's marked by the refs. Like he has to be thrown off the top of the Hell in a Cell, like Mankind, to get a call at this point. Like that's what happens with the refs. Like you make a fool of these refs once, they have your picture up and they got a big red slash on it. So
against Toronto, because everyone sees it, and like it particularly, I think, hurts their ego. But it is tough, and it is especially galling. Like that goal after. He takes the cross check in the face. He's bleeding.
Yeah.
Boston should have still been on the penalty kill when they scored that goal in the third period. But because there was no call, then all of a sudden they score the goal. Then Bunting gets pulled down. There's no call on this. It is a ridiculous thing. And when you do see like the way that the refs can influence the game by not calling things, this idea that they're not influencing the game by not calling things, you see how broken it is. And it's tough, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of Bunting, and he had an interesting play after the 4-2 goal or 3-2 goal, I guess it was at that point, where he was getting into a scrum and he disappeared into another universe because of the the ads that we all love so much. Like they have really improved the watching experience. Like I really love seeing the players disappear into the boards like an old PS1 game, playing a old PS1 wrestling game where it's like, you got to reset it now. Just hit reset. Oh my gosh. I mean, how are you a league? And I understand, like I'm not against ads. Like that's how it's always been that way. It's always going to be that way. It's part of this game. It's how they make money. But how are you a league? How are you owners? And you look at this game and see stuff like that. And that's not the first time. How do you see that and feel good about what you're watching, about the quality of what you're watching? Like, I don't understand. Like, have some pride in the product you're putting out there. You know, they don't have to be moving ads. Just leave them like they were. They were fine. I'm sure they provided a great return on investment for the advertiser. I don't know. I'm just being one of those guys.
It's probably lowering the price on the inboard ads for the Scotiabank Arena as well. But Gary Bettman has assured me that I do enjoy them. So I'm very happy to hear it.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Gary, for improving the product. Oh, it's amazing. Beautiful.
30 incredible years of driving the NHL into the 5th most popular sport in North America.
It's number 5 now. I'll tell you that much. I mean, they keep that up. It's gonna go behind bull riding. I'm telling you. Like,
oh, jeez.
Calgary and Texas, man. A lot of people there.
There you go. Yeah, like Matthew in the chat here says, could you imagine if you missed a pass in football because the ads on the field obscured the players? No, because the NFL is a professional league. That's why. Like, there's a reason why the NFL, among many reasons, is number 1. In the US at least, it's never going to be touched. But same thing, like in basketball, you're not going to see. Could you imagine you're watching a game and a Steph Curry 3, a buzzer beater, and then the ball just disappears into the ether before it goes into the net? I don't know. It's just me yelling into the clouds. Nothing's going to change. They're going to add more ads now. They're going to put more ads on the ice.
It's just going to be weird. Like, just think about a couple of years from now where we see some clips on YouTube of some plays back in the day or whatever, and you just see weird glitching overlays on top of players running around. It's going to be wild. Just weird stuff, eh? They better get this kind of sorted out in the off season, because if they don't, oh man, there's going to be a lot more people complaining about that kind of stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, no, don't worry. We'll no. But I think Gary Bettman has heard us, and there's a lot of white space on the ice, right? Mm-hmm. Like there's a lot of white space like there. I think if you just have just a levitating ad, just go in there, like why not? You know, like when we look back in 50 years and show our kids those great plays, and you can see the skates just disappearing into the ice. You know, I don't know. I mean, nothing's gonna change, guys. But you know. That's just the way it goes. We can just laugh at it together.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, I'd love to see if these two teams play. I think you'd agree that it would be a 7-game series again. I think. Now we'd have to win a first-round series for that to happen, but I still think this team, because let's not forget, the Leafs are kind of missing an important piece.
Yeah, and we really
Austin Matthews, and they're really missing him because
exactly
the gravity that provides for this team is unbelievable. Like he just changes, he tilts the ice. That's the way. Like he's like when you have Pontus Holberg taking the second line center spot, or whomever this was today, maybe William Nylander, it's not the same. Like they're not looking over their shoulder the same, and you can see it. You can see the offense being stagnant. If he needs my knee, I will give it to him. Okay, all I do with him is run like twice a week. Okay, there's not a Stanley Cup riding on my knee. Austin, you can have it. What do you think, Brian? Like,
I think obviously the offense was not clicking tonight, and it's like, you see in the first period you have all these great chances, but they're coming from Rasmus Sandin, Mark Giordano, from the blue line. It seemed like the Leafs were trying to compensate a little bit, sending pucks back to the blue line and sending them to the net to try to get traffic going that way. They're a different team without Austin Matthews. He's probably should be in the Selke conversation every year.
Yeah.
And when you see guys like John Tavares, who just he's not the horse that Matthews is. He can't quite get back on these guys sometimes. That's a big part of it, and it's not just the scoring. So you're seeing the offense not clicking. You're seeing some wingers getting loose that you wouldn't typically see when Austin Matthews is on the ice. It's obviously a massive deal. Going on what you said about the Leafs-Boston being a 7-game series, I agree. I don't look at Boston I don't think what's been going on this year so far is real. Like, they are very, very good. I don't believe they're not good. They're super good, but I do not believe they're a 130-point team. I think they are just hot as hell right now. They added one guy in the offseason. I think they're playing beyond their britches. I think Swayman and Allmark are playing beyond their britches. I think it's going to come down crashing. And that doesn't mean they're going to be all of a sudden a bad team, but I don't think they're going to be this team for 12 months. You know what I mean? So I think we're going to see them regress a little bit. That's what regression is. You don't all of a sudden get to be a 130 team for a whole season. I don't think it's going to happen.
That's a spicy take.
That's a spicy take.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if we're basing it off of the past 3 games, like they're definitely following the regression down there. But yeah, I mean, regardless, even if they fall back down to earth, they're still going to be a tough team to play against, right? It's going to be tough.
They're still at the top of the atmosphere of Earth. Like they're still up there. They're still up where Jeff Bezos went to space, apparently. Like you know what I'm saying? Like they're not in space, but they're gonna fall to like the Bezos area of the Blue Origin area, right?
But the Leafs have these moments too, right? Like we saw that stretch where the Leafs were unbeatable for 20 games.
Unbeatable, yeah.
Now the Leafs, that team, I don't think the Leafs are really that team. I think that's the best version of the Leafs that we've seen.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen the best version of Boston. So come the playoffs, once everyone makes their additions, once everyone is hopefully healthy, it's going to be a different situation. I really think that the Leafs are right there with these guys. Tonight, things didn't go our way, but I'm really looking forward to it, and I do think we're going to see a second-round series between these guys.
Hey, what do you think about Tampa though? Because we are going to from the way that it's kind of playing out right now, we're probably going to be playing off against Tampa in the first round, right? And Tampa is kind of hitting their mark right now. They did beat Boston earlier on too, right? And with 3 games in hand, if they win their 3 games that they do have in hand, I mean they're tied with the Leafs, right? So
they're actually on a 111-point pace. James Myrtle just tweeted that out. The Leafs are on a 110-point pace.
There you go. They're neck and neck, right?
The nation into this 9-day break we have, but yeah, points percentage, Tampa's currently ahead of us. So yeah, I think Tampa's also, like they're a wagon. Boston's a wagon. Toronto's a wagon. You look at the East. How many of the best teams in the league are in the East? I think the 4 best teams in the league are in the East.
Yeah, and it's a big imbalance.
Yeah, and I think you have to get through one of these 3 teams, who I think is one of the 4 best teams in the league. Only one of them can make it to the 3rd round. So it's tough, man. And I don't think it's any guarantee or anything like that, but I think it's a hell of a lot closer to a coin flip than, the way the commentators are talking about Boston tonight,
Hey, listen. I remember the last time we had a team playing at a historic pace, the 2019 Tampa Bay Lightning. So What Brian BeLeafs is saying is the Buffalo Sabres are going to sweep the Boston Bruins in the first round. That is what I heard, and what I internalized. I would love that. I think Buffalo is a sports town that freaking needs something, man. Like, I'm a Bills fan, and I was just there in the week. I don't mind Buffalo. I think Buffalo's kind of fun, but
Did
they
you
need
hear the
something.
bad news? Just came out of the Buffalo game today. Did you hear
No.
the bad news?
No, what happened?
Left the game with injury.
Oh, no.
So I don't know. I don't know how long that is or what it is. Hopefully it's just like precautionary. You don't want to see a guy like that out, man. What a year he's having. I want him to hit all those marks, and I want Buffalo to get that 8th seed, man, because they'll be a tough out against Boston for sure, man. That'll help. That'll help. If it's Boston and not Washington, that'll help a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Washington. I'm pretty sure. I think this Boston team would probably wipe them off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
But young upstart, kind of, you can kind of get caught by surprise in that sense. So, speaking of Boston, let's move on to a bit of the off the ice. So if you're on Twitter today, you saw that Brad Marchand, he, like the
doing
Drake
Brad
lyric,
Marchand things.
bigger fingers turned to Twitter fingers. Brad Marchand channeled Kevin Durant and just went off on the media, including our boss, one Steve Dangle. And that was quite an interesting. I didn't think, when I saw that, I'm like, this is very strange. What is happening right now?
Yeah, I woke up with just popcorn in my hands. I'm like, all right, let's see what's going to be going on tonight. I was not expecting that. Yeah. Listen, when I woke up today, I was not expecting to see Steve Dangle and Brad Marchand going at it on Twitter, but boy, did I fucking enjoy it. It was wild though, like the way that it actually started from Craig Morgan, he's a writer for the Hockey News, tweeting about the Zegras and Stretcher update. Yeah, exactly. And then Brad Marchand just tweets, "Shut your pie hole, Craig," at like 11:50 in the night.
Who says shut your pie hole anymore?
Yeah, but also like that late in the night, like he clearly just woke up, went to the washroom, just sat on his toilet, and just had his phone out and was like, all right, like, screw this guy, I'm just gonna tweet out at him, and then went back to sleep. And then Jacob Stroller from the Hockey News, he questioned Marchand about it today. Marchand responded with just like, just whatever came to my mind. Yeah, exactly. And then when Jacob tweets about it, just like given an update on like the news, he goes off on Jacob as well. He's just like, oh, like, do you want me to say something different, or and so you don't have to hang your career on something so stupid? Like, what was he on today? Marchand was just going off on everyone. Steve Dangle gets involved too.
Come into Toronto and they know that this is where they get noticed.
Yeah,
like hockey's a regional sport. Most people don't pay any attention to hockey. Even in Boston, you're the number 4 sport, man. Like, Brad Marchand can walk down most streets in Boston and people don't know who he is.
Isn't that crazy?
He might get a wave. Yeah, he might get look at that guy.
Get a wave once in a while. Just like if Michael Bradley walks down the streets in Toronto, people go, oh, that's the TFC guy.
Honestly.
Man. And like, this is the thing. These guys come into town. We saw it with Ovi's comments a while ago about the Leafs. You see it all the time. These guys come in, they know they have an audience, and they know it's going to get out there.
Yeah.
So they get on their little pedestal and they say a lot of silly stuff. The stuff that really bugged me, I'm not an SPD employee. I did think the Dangle stuff was awesome today. But the stuff that really bugged me was Marchand acting like he was a hero, taking this big hometown discount. He was a $6 million player when he signed that contract. Pasternak was a $6 million player when he signed that contract. None of those guys took discounts. That's when their contracts came up. That's what they were worth at the time. And now he's saying, oh, we all take discounts. We're all heroes.
No, they play for the love of the game. They would play for free, Brian. They would play for free if they could.
He's crying about, when he thinks about in the dark parts of his mind, he's like, man, I should be a $10 million guy. I'm losing $4 million a year because I was dumb enough to sign an 8-year contract back then. And that's on him, man. He did not take any discount.
You know what, though? I mean, ultimately, I think it's, I don't think Brad Marchand did anything really that horrible. It's kind of just chirping, kind of just shit posting. But isn't this kind of what we're asking for? Like, we're always clamoring for more than just, like, well, we got pucks in deep and they played really hard, and just trying to listen to coach, and I know they're a good team out there, and we kind of get, we want more than that. But when it comes, people get critical, like with PK Subban. PK Subban made people mad. When Ovechkin did the goal celebration, he was like this with the stick. I don't even know what he was doing, but he was doing that. That's everybody kind of gets like everybody's like, oh, somebody think of the children. But
everybody was talking today about the big ratings news that comes out, right? It's like, what does the NBA have? The NBA was going broke in the 70s, man. What changed?
Yeah.
The Showtime Lakers
Stars.
come up. Michael Jordan comes up. A commissioner with vision shows up,
Mm-hmm.
Brad Marchand has some character. People give a crap about this guy. People listen to this guy. He says something. Please give me something to cheer for, hockey.
Yeah, he'll be right there. He'll be right there with Subban once he decides to hang it up. But I don't think that's anytime soon. I think he's still pretty good. But he'll be definitely a great media personality, and that's kind of what you need. And to your point, like, this kind of stuff happens on Twitter in the NFL every week with
exactly.
like we had like Eli Apple from the Bengals literally like retweeted Stephon Diggs from the Bills after beating them, basically saying like, enjoy Cancun, like just like on Twitter for everyone to see. Like, so hockey Twitter, when anything like small, like anything like slightly more interesting happens, people are just like, whoa, just blows their minds, right? So it's pretty funny.
I think it's because whatever small little tidbit of like drama or just fun news that we get, we just hop onto that as soon as possible, right?
It's like, we need it. Just give us more.
Yeah, I think it was fantastic though. I mean, Marchand's just he's one of those guys where if he was a Toronto Maple Leaf, we would love the crap out of him.
Oh God.
But we hate him just because he's against it, especially because he's playing for Boston of all teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just so much to say about him, but I loved it. I thought he was great, and then he played well today too.
Somebody, Matthew said in the stream again. I was watching the Boston stream, and they were talking about the Red Sox preseason, and I'm like, yeah, that's
oh jeez.
Who's gonna play quarterback for the Pats? All right, and the Bruins did something too. They beat I don't know, but the Pats,
Dude, man,
Mason Tatum MVP.
We need Joe Bowen back, man. Or maybe someone like Joe Bowen who likes the Leafs a little bit. Give me a little bit of Leaf love on there. I heard a lot about the Bruins tonight.
Joe Bowen, like we like. Sometimes I love listening in the car. Like obviously listening, you lose. You can't get what's going on in front of you. But man, when you listen to Joe Bowen on the radio, like, you can feel like I remember I'd be driving and I could hear when a goal was coming by. His voice would like go up on a meter. He'd be like, the Bulls in front. And I'm like, it's like, he is unbelievable, man. Like, what a gem. I wish he was on TV.
Yeah, no, he's amazing, man. And there's this guy on Twitter, Leafs Jelly, who puts together the Leaf highlights from Sportsnet, and then they put Joe Bowen audio on top of it. It's amazing. Love that.
Oh man. Shout out to Joe Bowen. I know you're not listening, but we like you. We love you. But yeah, guys. So here we are at the unofficial halfway point of the season. Probably much more than halfway.
It's more than halfway. Yeah.
It's
right before the All-Star break.
It's the line of demarcation kind of though. So what do we think? What are our impressions of this Leafs team? Is it to your expectations, above expectation, below expectation? What do you guys think?
Well, do you want to go first, Brian?
No, please.
Okay. I think the team is. I still have a lot of high hopes for the team. I think there are a lot of concerns. Like, they do still need to get another left winger, in my opinion, at the deadline. We also need to get a little bit more scoring and offensive throughput from our defense, right? I mean, today Brody had a couple good plays in that first period. I mean, I think there was one where he had a nice pit, or he had a nice push up where they got on a 4-on-2, and that led to a good chance. Obviously, they didn't score on it, but it was good to see that they're at least thinking a little bit more offensively minded. We are missing a lot of points though from our defense. I think our defense has been offensively specifically has been a spot that needs to improve on, especially going into the playoffs, right? What do you think, Brian?
I think the Leafs are great. I do think they are one of 7 teams, I think, that have a legitimate shot. I think they definitely need a left winger, and I want it to be an impact left winger. I don't want it to be a third liner guy. I need it to be a guy that pushes Yarncroc down and helps the third line with Yarncroc, pushes everyone down a peg. And I think that's just going to balance the scoring so much more. And it's going to give you a really dangerous option on the left wing. And it might give a little life to this second power play unit that's not working. To me, they got to figure out the power play. I don't know why we don't have a one-timer off the face-off for Matthews like Ovi has. Things like that. I'd like to see something like that. I think everything else, I don't think you're going to get an above replacement guy on the blue line with whatever assets we have left who's going to be better than Justin Hall. I just don't see it. The cost. I don't
see it as a need.
Yeah, exactly.
And then goalies, it is what it is, man. You're not going to be able to bring in anybody who's going to be a better backup than Wall. If you lose any of Samsonov or Murray in the playoffs and you have to go to Wall, you're screwed anyways, man. So
you're screwed in style.
No, it's done, right? So you're rolling the dice, man. Injuries happen. Hopefully this little break is what Austin Matthews needs for maybe that back injury that Ben gave him with that cross check at the beginning, or whatever's happening with his wrist or knees. Who knows what it is?
He better.
I'm hoping to see a resurgent Austin Matthews after the break. And let's go.
If I see him doing any media walking around there, I'm gonna be very angry. Okay, he needs to be in the cryogenic chamber for the entire All-Star break. You know, just every day, just however long. What's the maximum? Just everything. Rehab, chill, go to the beach, just be. We need Austin Matthews to be absolutely tip-top shape. Okay. Yeah. To your guys' point, like they need offense. Like anytime I hear them saying we get trade for defense, I'm like, why? For what? Like.
Yeah, there was a couple of reports earlier on where they were saying some defensive options. I'm like, dude,
you only have finite resources, right? So you don't have. If it was like you turned off the salary cap in NHL, yeah, sure, get Erik Karlsson, get whomever, right? But you know, we live in a reality right now. So definitely go after a left winger, maybe a Timo Meier. I don't know, big swing, but I would say for sure the goal. I feel better about this season than last for sure because. Our goaltending is not perfect, as we saw tonight, and many nights. It's not perfect. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's better than Jack Campbell. And then if Jack Campbell gets injured, then let's just pull the goalie for the whole game because was basically the option. So, I think one of Murray or Samsonov, you know, they're not perfect, but hey, I think you can count on it to bring you forth, especially if you get home ice advantage. You get Samsonov in net. But, yeah, I mean, they play Tampa Bay better than anybody did last season. So I think let's do it again. Let's do it again. I think they can finally get over the hump, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think the hump being the first round.
One other round deadline thing I want to mention is just like the finite resources thing. It's like, I know a lot of people are saying that this is, you know, an all-in season. And I agree with that to a point. Like, this core is young. Matthews, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think all these guys are staying. I think this core has a window here. Yeah. And I don't think you want to trade every single thing, you know?
Yeah.
You need some guys coming up from behind. But I'm all right with one of these prospects and a first for the Timo Meier. I think I'm on board, man. I think I'm ready for it. I want Timo. Let's go.
All right. Everybody, go ahead. Everybody, like, let's call it in. I mean, I'm gonna talk to my contacts at MLSC. We'll get them on the phone, and no, it's not gonna happen. But I have no clout. But yeah, let's do it. I think you got to give, like I said before in the stream, you got to give these guys a chance. They've played pretty excellent the last 2 seasons, so give them a chance, Kyle. Give them a chance. Give us a chance. And Brian. Listen, let's ask you. I wanted to ask you a quick question. So, like, how do you turn around these comics so quickly? And are we taking away your time right now for drawing your comic?
Yeah, actually, for sure you are.
Thank you.
Usually at this point, I'd be penciling the comic. So usually the game ends at 9:30 because we start at 7. Like,
it's a late night.
Civilize people. But yeah, so I'll have a little bit of work to do tonight. I think I'm probably going to do the pencils tonight, and then I'll probably get up at like 6 tomorrow and ink it and color it because I'm getting started a little late. But usually I get going and I'm done by around 1 a.m. And then I hit the hay, and it's a bit of a shorter night of sleep, but I'm okay.
How do you come up with all these ideas though? Because like you've been doing this for like 2 years now, and well, this is your 3rd year, and I I can't imagine just like the creative juices after each game, just like trying to figure out what exactly I'm going to draw and whatnot. What goes into that process?
Well, I work a lot of it out on the paper. Definitely, like just like what we're talking about today. Like I got images in my head. I was thinking before the game about like Marchand and Marner, how the best friend comment he made, and then Bunting with the blood down his face. So all these things are playing around in my head. So I'll fart around and figure it out on the paper, which is a process I've done professionally for a long time too. I draw myself out of problems. So I'll do a lot of thumbnails and rough it out, and the juices start flowing for sure.
Sweet.
Yeah. And so, yeah, everybody. So, like, listen, if you're on Leafs Reddit, you can pretty much count on after every Leafs game, you can see a Brian BeLeaf post, and they're all bangers. So, make sure you check it out. Maybe Brian will make him go really meta and make a comic about this stream here.
Yeah. Game over stream for sure.
Imagine drawing is that a weird, like that is that too meta? Like, will that break everybody's brains if you just draw us all together? Drawing the comic.
People love it, man. People love it. Look it.
Just breaking the third wall there.
That's it. It's like Truman. It's a Truman Show Leafs edition, all right? Like, the Leafs fans were already in the Truman Show already. Like let's push it down. Let's keep it going, right? So
yeah.
Sure.
Well, Brian, you've had like a ton of really good comics the past 2 years. I mean, my favorite one was definitely that. What was it? Game 5, was it, with the Spezza talk with the boys, and then you had that comic with the all 4 of our players just with like the freaking Avengers like glowing the eyes and all that. Fantastic. That was easily my favorite one. It was fantastic. But what's been your favorite like comic, I guess, or what was the most fun that you've had drawn one like over the years?
Oh, I don't know, man. Like the ones that I love are the ones that pop into my head that are so clear right away. Like I did, like, speaking of blood, I did like Justin Hall one where it looked like the old Andrew WK record cover where he's got blood coming down his nose. That one popped into my head right away. When JT went down with the injury in game 1, he had the thumbs up, and I had the image of the thumbs up in front of the 91 pop in my head right away. And I just did that one the other day when they played Florida, and Gudas was running around, and I was like, oh man, he's like a coward, and then like Cowardly Lion for like Mountain Lions and Panthers game.
I saw that one. Yeah, I saw that. That's good.
So things like that kind of when things kind of just come together.
Even that Bobby McMahon one, what was it, during that Father's Day, or not Father's Day, sorry, that Father's trip and whatnot with Bobby's dad like complaining to the refs? That was hilarious. Fantastic stuff.
Poor guy still doesn't have his goal, man. That haunts you, man. That'll haunt you, man. Like that's some rough stuff. He gets his first goal called back, and he hasn't got one since. So that's a tough one. But
that was another game I loved. It was the Nicky Bobby one when Nick Robertson had his big goal in overtime.
Yes,
and I did like a Talladega Nights homage. That's
fun. Good.
Yeah.
It's funny, after that game, I literally thought of this like before, because I think of bits all the time when I'm doing this thing, and I was like, oh, like I miss Nick Robertson because I literally wanted to make it a thing. I was like, here's to you, Nicky Robertson. Leaf fans love you more than you will know. And I'm like, I was so proud of myself. And I'm like, I am a genius when I thought of that, even though, whatever, it's goofy. But please come back, Nick Robertson. I need that bit, okay? Anyway, Brian, listen, it was a pleasure to have you on. Great mind for the game, and obviously very talented with the pen and paper. Listen, Brian, tell people where they can find you and about your stuff.
Brian BeLeafs on Reddit, Twitter, Instagram. I'm on Q107. I do like a little hit at 4:30 with Fearless Fred after all the Leaf games. And then that's about it, I guess. But yeah, look for me every morning. The comics come up around 9 or 10 in the morning.
And the book? You gotta talk about the book?
Yeah. The book, BrianBeLeafs.com. You can get a book, hardcover. Just one thing. Let me grab one really quick.
Yeah. All right, he's gonna show it to you guys.
There you go.
Look at that.
Oh, beautiful.
Full color illustrations inside there. Nice slip cover here.
Come on. Look at that. That's a perfect gift.
It is.
Guys,
it is.
Go ahead and order that book, because look at that. Look at that.
BrianBeLeafs.com.
BrianBeLeafs.com. All right, everybody. Listen, From Game Over Toronto, my name is Toronto. Did I just say Toronto? Toronto. My name is Fouad Soliman. You can find me at Fouad_sports.
I'm Harnish Patel. You can find me Harnish_Patel98 on Twitter.
And once
go
again,
for it.
And I'm Brian BeLeafs. Brian BeLeafs, Instagram, Twitter.
Perfect. All right. Thanks for coming on. I hope you guys have a great night, everyone. Good night.
and doot doodaloo doot.
Doot doot.
There you go.
Game over! Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.